Duncan and Nesterovic. In the backcourt, Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant for the Lakers, Tony Parker, and Bruce Bowen, who will be shadowing Bryant most of the night for San Antonio. And let's check in with Michelle.
Well, Al, this morning's Spurs shoot-around was all business. The players told me they noticed a difference. No joking around, just a single-mindedness about tonight's game. And the word of the day for this Spurs team is aggressive. Greg Popovich said before the game that the aggressive team almost always gets more calls and usually gets the win. And Al Popovich also said the Spurs would play a better brand of defense tonight because, quote, Kobe Bryant's abilities in Game 1, or Game 4 rather, eclipsed our defensive abilities and philosophies. Look for the Spurs to tighten it up tonight, Al.
I don't know that anybody could have done anything with Bryant when he had 42 and Shaq had 28 the other night, Don.
No, I mean, when you look at it, I thought the Spurs did a pretty good job on Kobe Bryant. He just made some difficult shots. So, you know, look for the Spurs to play him a little differently in this game. But the Spurs are a great defensive team. They're not going to change that much.
Lakers control the opening tip in a game with officials Ron Garretson, Dan Crawford, and Joe Forte calling it. Devin George, the fifth Beatle, started the year in the starting lineup, came out when Rick Fox got healthy, and now George has been the man since midway through the Houston series in postseason. Shaq's first shot goes in.
Well, you've already seen a change. No front to start the game. The Spurs got away with in Game 1 and 2 fronting Shaquille O'Neal. In Game 3 and 4, it didn't work. Greg Popovich has gone back to standing behind Shaq.
There's Bowen for three, and air ball.
Really important that Bowen gets off early. Kobe Bryant single-handedly is disrupting the Spurs offense.
Malone, who was passing up a lot of shots the other night in Game 4 after he missed the first, misses his first here tonight. Inside now to Duncan. He's guarded by Malone. Shoots over Carl and gets the bounce.
Rare that you're going to see Tim Duncan go one-on-one. I don't think there's a guy in this league that can guard him one-on-one. In Game 1 and 2, the Lakers did that, and they got burned.
Bryant driving to the basket, losing his balance, and called for traveling. Bowen was giving ground so as not to get the foul, and then Kobe off balance and goes to the floor.
Again, I think Bruce Bowen is key in this game. They need him to play better defense than Kobe, and he has to make shots.
Parker, Bowen from the corner. This time he hits. Bowen does two things very well. He plays defense, and he can hit threes from either corner. He doesn't take very many threes except from those two corners, left and right.
And we talk about him as a defensive player. His offensive output will be key.
Bryant and Kobe is on the board. The Lakers trail by one.
Especially if Kobe Bryant is going to shoot the ball well, then there's nothing a good defender can do. So if that defender is going to be on the floor, he has to score.
Parker. And Malone with a rebound. Phil Jackson saying today that Bryant, after that amazing performance in Game 4, was exhausted yesterday. The Lakers practiced and flew here, but felt that he'd have his legs back tonight. Malone got it.
See, they're going to make Malone take shots. And in Game 4, he didn't have to. But he has to make those open shots because then Tim Duncan has to stay home.
Malone gets another rebound here. Bryant. That game the other night, Shaq ranked it in Kobe's top 3 playoff performances and then thought a little bit more, may have put it up at number 1 considering the circumstances. Parker loses the ball, but Bowen is there. Turkoglu the other night hit 3 threes, and this is Nesterovic from inside the arc for 2.
Yeah, but he made those threes early. And Turkoglu and Nesterovic, they're going to get those shots all game. It's easy to make them in the first 2 quarters. They have to make them in quarter 3 and 4.
Big difference. Bowen, for instance, is a guy who's been very hot in the first halves of games and cold in the second. Payton gets it rejected. Bowen, the other corner now. Duncan got the rebound. Turkoglu for 3.
See, they have to keep shooting them out. Miss or make. Now, just because you're open doesn't mean you have to take a 3. You can take a step in and take a 2 if you want.
San Antonio built its big lead in Game 4 primarily in the first half on three-point shooting and offensive rebounds. Now Devin George, who has not taken a 2 in this series, he's taken nothing but three-point shots. He's taken 10 three-point shots in this series, no two-point shots.
It's amazing. He played 112 minutes coming into this game. 9 field goal attempts, all threes.
Here's Duncan off the glass. George, by the way, 6 out of 10 on those threes. Duncan now has 4, and the game is tied at 9.
Again, one-on-one coverage on Duncan.
Malone giving it to Payton like a handoff, and then Gary has it knocked away, and he's fouled.
You know, one of the things we talked about in Game 3 and 4, well, the Lakers did a great job of crowding Duncan, the traffic. Right here, that's not close enough. You give Duncan a chance to go one-on-one. Most cases, Al, he's going to burn you.
First foul on Duncan. First foul of the game. We played 4 minutes, 27 seconds. The teams will meet in L.A. on Saturday night in Game 6. If there is a 7th game necessary, it's next Wednesday, 6 nights from tonight, right back here, as Phil Jackson and the Lakers continue their waltz across Texas. They went to Houston in the first round. They came here twice for the first 2 games. Remember, they had a couple of days off, so they went home and back. And now this is already their 3rd trip in this series to San Antonio, with a 4th one possible. Duncan gets doubled, and George with the steal created off the double team, and then Bryant has it knocked away from his grasp by Bowen, and the Lakers will inbound.
And that was amazing defense by Bruce Bowen. Most guys allow the catch and then try to make the play after the catch. Bruce Bowen knows if Kobe gets his hands on this, it's 2 points. He beats him to the ball.
Payton posting Parker. Now Shaq gets it back outside to Bryant. 8 on the timer as Malone launches it.
See, again, Tim Duncan is in helping. Kobe Bryant, when he drives, he draws traffic, and he's finding guys.
Starvich starts the back end. Hook. O'Neal is there, put the pressure on, got the rebound. Now Devin George takes his first 2 of the series, and Phil Jackson says, you know what, you should try that a little bit more often. Popovich says timeout, San Antonio.
Great timeout, Al, because Greg Popovich, he wants to run, but he does not want the Lakers getting in transition. In Game 3 and 4, it was the Laker break, and Pop does not want that.
6:27 left in the opening period. Phil Jackson, end of a 5-year contract. His future, who knows? Will he be back? Will he go to a Montana cabin? You know, you just don't know with Phil.
You really don't. My bet's on that cabin, though, Al. I really believe that, win or lose.
That he'll be back at the cabin for
a year.
You think so?
I do. I really do. And I think he still loves coaching. I think he thinks at times coaches need a break. And I believe that he's going to take a break.
He said he would, as soon as it's all over, either they get eliminated or win the championship, he'll sit down with Jerry Buss, he'll sit down with Mitch Kupchak, the general manager, as Tony Parker puts one up from inside the arc to make it a 3-point game.
Karl Malone showed us that he's still pretty quick, because he stayed with Tony Parker pretty well, forced Tony Parker into taking a tough shot, and he still made it.
Devin George, who has 5 points, now inside to Shaq. Over to Starovich and drops it in to make it a 16-11 game. Shaquille with 4 points.
See, this is the dilemma. They're playing behind Shaq. That's fine. But they cannot allow Shaq to then catch the ball deep.
Duncan picked up the garbage and couldn't make it pay off. O'Neal with a rebound. Crown wants a foul. Doesn't get it. In fact, the Lakers haven't committed a foul. And we played almost 7 minutes. Bryant underneath and had it blocked underneath. And Duncan runs the floor. Parker spots up for a three.
Yeah, tough shot because he didn't catch it in rhythm. That one he did.
Still short. So the other night they couldn't miss a three. Tonight they're having trouble making anything. Peyton missing, and Gary's a guy also having a lot of trouble making shots.
Yeah,
33% in the series.
Especially with his legs. Most of his threes are short. I tell you where he still should go, and that's the post. I think he's starting to get some looks down there. That and pick and roll.
Duncan would have counted. First Laker foul. Malone. Duncan to the line. Let's check in with Michelle.
Al, you guys were talking about Phil Jackson's future. Let's remember his past. On Monday, May 10th, that was the one-year anniversary of his angioplasty, which took him off the sidelines briefly during last season's playoffs. So on this Monday, Jackson called his cardiologist to thank him. That's Dr. Philip Frankel. And Dr. Frankel responded by saying, hey, Jackson, you need to come in soon for your one-year checkup. But on his decision of whether to return or not, he says his kids are really trying to influence him to retire from this game, Al.
It'll be very interesting because there's a part of me that wonders if he's going to miss the buzz. I mean, it's a long way from Staples Center and that whole scene in a Montana cabin. I mean, you can have both in your life, but it would be pretty difficult.
Well, since I've already predicted that he's going to leave, I'm going to also predict that he's going to come back. I think Phil Jackson is taking a break. I don't think he's retiring from coaching. I think he's a lifer. He loves coaching, and I think we will see him again if he decides to leave this team.
Duncan drops the second. Phil, the great.
I just don't want to see him in Boston.
You probably won't. No, you'll be there for a while.
Exactly.
Phil is the great meditator, and this year he's had to be the great mediator.
Yes, he has.
Meanwhile, his opposite number in Greg Popovich. Popovich, third longest in tenure with his current team in the NBA as Bryant drops it in. You keep forgetting about a guy like Popovich. Only Jerry Sloan in Utah and Flip Saunders in Minnesota have coached their teams longer than Greg has coached San Antonio, 8 seasons. Ginobili has come into the game.
See, these are looks. These are looks that the Spurs didn't get up in L.A. And though they're down, they have to be happy with the shot attempts they're getting right now.
Peyton threw it low and outside to George, and Ginobili gets the steal, and that's something he's very adept at doing. And then Parker gets it underneath, and Duncan gets fouled.
Again, turnovers lead to buckets for the Spurs. When the Lakers take care of the ball, they're okay. When they don't, they're in trouble. Pick and rolls have bothered the Lakers. And right now, you can see the Spurs taking advantage of that. And here is off a turnover. They want to run, but they have to create turnovers.
Tim Duncan, he hit only 60% this season after 71% last year, so a big drop off in that department. Well short here. So which team do you think was the all-time champion? You can log on to NBA.com, cast your vote. Quarterfinal matchups of the all-time NBA Finals Challenge right there at NBA.com. Malone comes out of the game. And Slava Medvedenko, who never met a shot he didn't like, comes in for the Lakers.
You know, you kind of like guys like that coming off the bench. You know, you think about Slava, he's playing with Shaq, Kobe, Carmelo, and Peyton, and he thinks he's still the first option.
Lakers up by 2 here in the first quarter. Peyton through the lane, running hook goes.
See, allowing him to handle the ball puts him back in his comfort zone. I think it's a brilliant move by Phil Jackson. You know, people say, well, it's not the triangle. I don't think Phil cares about that. He's trying to win a game.
I think Phil had to think, if we don't get out of the triangle at least occasionally, this playoff series will wind up as the Bermuda Triangle.
It was headed that way.
It was. He still employs it in certain situations, especially when Shaq gets it down low. And now out to Medvedenko. George for 3. Duncan with a rebound.
See, that's one of those threes. If you're Phil Jackson, you wish George would turn down and penetrate to the basket.
Duncan. Long 2 for Tim. 2-point game. as was the case in the game the other night. Parker putting full court pressure on Payton as he brings the ball into the front court until Jackson will stop it. Timeout, Los Angeles. 2:26 left in the quarter. No wonder Jacob Reese has a parkway named after him in Brooklyn.
And that's what Larry Brown was talking about practice.
Practice. Right. Here's Kobe Bryant after the timeout, missing badly. Ginobili comes away with it. Derek Fisher has come into the game, minus his headband for the Lakers. Ori dishes it back to Parker, who's going to drive the lane, then send it out to Ginobili for three. That would have given San Antonio the lead.
I like what San Antonio is doing. They're passing up some of their threes, they're dribble penetrating, and then kicking it back out instead of settling for the first shot.
Medvedenko. Duncan has 9 of San Antonio's 18 points. And Kobe nearly steals, but goes out of bounds.
I think Parker right now is looking too much out for the help. They're really not helping as much as they did in game 3 and 4, but he's looking for it, so I think he's passed up some opportunities.
O'Neal out of the game. Malone comes back in. You know, he's starting to drive, but he's stopping that drive. Here's Ori driving and missing a left-hander. It looks like, you know, Tony in the first 2 games, no fear going to the hoop. And now when he gets in there, it's almost like he's looking for somebody to pick him up.
He is. He's searching for traffic.
Loose ball. Fisher comes up with it. Bounces it to Medvedenko. Play clock still continued to go, so the 24 is now down to 6. Since the Lakers never gave up possession, it's 2, and Malone may not know it. Now he does, and he did not get it off in time.
I don't know. I tell you what. I thought the whistle went off with about 1 second left on the shot clock.
I thought so. I thought it was right between 1 and 0. We have the perfect angle to look at it. But they were caught unaware when the ball was loose on the floor. They picked it up and didn't realize how little time they had. Ginobili fouled by Medvedenko on his way to the hoop. Take a look. Well, no, it's at 0.
Well, you know why? See, the light should come on.
Yeah.
And the light didn't come on the backboard. You're taught to look at the light on the board, and there was no light on the board. So either there was a malfunction, and the referees must know it.
But it was a good call, and as much as you saw the 0 up there, as the ball left Malone's hand. Final minute, opening quarter, Lakers by 4. Parker. Medvedenko gets the rebound. Bryant slips down, gets fouled.
Yeah, they're calling a push on the lower body on Ginobili. You can see right here. You can see the lower body push right there, the reach by Ginobili, and that's where they're calling the foul.
So he inbounded with 14 on the 24. 20 seconds left in the period. Bryant softly, and with 17.1, San Antonio will get the final shot, or at least play for it in the quarter.
And now that looked easy, but he shouldn't be able to make that shot. I mean, that is so difficult of a shot.
Compared to the other night in LA, anything he does looks easy. Ori for 3. And now Bryant, who just missed from about 75. That is the end of the first quarter, and the Lakers have not been playing particularly well in first quarters outside of game 3, but they do here. Almost 27 points a game, 14 rebounds a game, hitting 2/3 of his shot. You go back in the history of the NBA, no player in the history of the league has achieved all 3 levels in any playoff series.
No, that's pretty amazing. And when you look at Shaq and you look at Kobe, you look at the Lakers the last 3 games, they shot 57% in game 3, 50% in game 4. They're shooting 61% right now. And that is a concern, especially when you think that the Spurs have been one of the top teams the last 5 years in field goal percentage with opponents.
In fact, in the Duncan era, the Spurs had never gone 3 games in a row giving up 50%. Turkoglu gets fouled on his way to the hoop, and the Lakers already 3 times in a row have hit more than 50%. There it is, game 1 well under, but 2, 3, and 4 despite the loss in 2. And then tonight the Lakers open up the game hitting 61% in the first quarter, and the Spurs at only 32.
Yeah, but you look at the scores, a 6-point game. The Lakers have dominated from the free throw line, going to the line 7 more times a game. In this game, one of the things Greg Popovich said his team had to do is be more aggressive. And what he's saying is stop selling for threes, drive the basketball. They're doing that. They're getting to the foul line. Now they have to make them.
3 of 6 from the foul line tonight, and 7 of 22 from the field. The Lakers, meanwhile, are 11 of 18.
Well, that was a great cut by Kobe Bryant, and a better pass by Shaq.
Devin Brown with a foul. Brown in the game to provide what Popovich hopes will be a little extra energy, as he did in game 1 here.
Well, the one thing he does, Al, is he makes shots. And, you know, Bruce Bowen has not done that. The downside to that is now he has to guard Kobe.
Bryant.
That's the point right there. You know, Bruce Bowen is a great defender. Devin Brown is a great offensive player.
Ginobili. Nesterovic battles to the board, giving Turkoglu a shot at 3, and he cashes in. So the offensive rebound, keeping it in San Antonio's possession, and that turns an 8-point deficit into a 5. Malone, it was deflected, so there's no backcourt violation. But there's only 8 on the 24. Kobe looking up at the clock. He'll have to launch one from way outside. And now Fisher runs over to the Laker bench but can't save it.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant was really upset because he saw the clock running down and he wanted it swung to him a little bit earlier. It kind of strung him out to dry. You know, 50 feet away from the bucket, Russ gave him the ball with 5 seconds on the clock.
Ginobili over Shaq. Wow. So the Argentine, who played basketball in Europe and Italy, makes it a 3-point game. A 3 by Turkoglu, a 2 by Manu Ginobili. An 8-point deficit is now just 3.
Here and got into the photo. Manu was too late, Al, and his picture had to be digitized in after the fact.
2 pictures are worth 2,000 words.
Yes, it means fine.
That's $2,000.
Exactly.
Lakers lose it out of bounds. Lakers have now turned the ball over 4 times.
Yeah, and that's a concern. You know, at least they turned that one over out of bounds, because when they turn it over inbounds, it's for sure 2 points for the Spurs.
Spurs have only turned it over once. Lakers only had 8 turnovers in the entire 4th game, and Kareem Rush had his hands all over Ginobili. And he's whistled.
You know what's interesting? When you look at game 4, Kobe's outbreak of points and Shaq's, someone else on the Lakers this evening has to play well for them to win. They can't count on guys scoring 40 points a night.
Well, they had 70 of the 98 from the 2 studs the other night. Nesterovic gets it back to Duncan. And then Malone comes down with it. Hard short pass. Duncan really never had control of it. Malone, a little turnaround over Nesterovic.
You know, he kind of lulls you to sleep. Nesterovic was waiting for the pass. The last thing he thought was that Carmelo was going to turn around and take a jump shot.
Especially after game 4 when he passed up so many easier shots. Brown rebound goes down.
When you take a look here, you see the two cutters go by Karl Malone. Now look at Russell Nesterovic. He's thinking pass. No, that's a shot. That's Malone on this team. When he was with the Jazz, you always played him for everything. Now he kind of lulls you to sleep because he's more of a passer than a shooter on this team.
That foul on Shaquille O'Neal, his first. Second foul on Shaquille O'Neal. Number 2 on O'Neal.
Well, that's a surprising call. You know, usually when it can go either way, it goes to the guy like Rush. And instead, they gave that one to Shaq.
Four-point game. Lakers played a lot better in the first quarter than they had in all of the games except game 3 when they routed them. Spurs won the first quarter by 7 in game 1. And were 21 better as Bryant hits.
Well, that's the new wrinkle, Al, that they put in this triangle offense when they run it. It's bringing Kobe off a single double.
And if people don't watch that much basketball, off single doubles means exactly what?
2 screens on one side, 1 screen on the other. Shooter has a choice. And you don't want to give Kobe Bryant too many choices offensively.
Some single doubles means something else to a few other people.
Exactly.
We're watching in sports bars, but that's another story. Lakers by 6. Bryant from inside the arc, in and out. Rush steals. And then Bryant gets fouled by Ginobili.
Yeah, and great foul by Ginobili because that's a for sure, too. That's what Michelle was talking about earlier with Manu, driving you nuts. I mean, that was such a difficult pass that he tried. It makes it almost impossible for Tim Duncan to make that catch. That's probably why you see Manu going to take a seat right now. You know what's interesting? The pop doesn't get on him. He takes him out, sits him, rests him, try to calm him down a little bit, but he's going to put him back in. I think he knows Manu's not changing.
Parker replaces him. Fisher. Would have been 3. Duncan with a rebound. And Rush steals the pass. Bryant over to Fisher. He'll try it again. This time, bingo.
See, rhythm shots. 2 times in a row, Kobe Bryant has penetrated and given the ball up, and Fisher misses the first one. When you throw that second one to him again, that shows great confidence in your teammates.
Fisher had been 1 for his last 13 in threes. Got a second chance there. Hit it. Up by 9. Tonight's edition of Sprite Mad Skills.
Al, first of all, I never thought I'd hear you say those 2 words back-to-back, mad and skills. But it goes to Kobe Bryant because he's been amazing with this play. He's picking up where he left off in game 4, making shot after shot, and these are not easy shots. Also, he's getting everybody else involved, which is key.
Won't win any spelling contest, but that's your Sprite Mad Skills. Michelle.
Hey, Al, in that last huddle, Greg Popovich said, hey, the Lakers are making shots right now, and that's okay, but that's not agile with turnovers. We're in a hurry. It's not about rushing the ball. It's about pushing it up the floor. There's a lot of game left. Calm down.
Turkoglu, that would have been a 2.
I would be more concerned right now is that the Lakers seem to be playing a little bit harder than the Spurs. In game 1 and 2, it was all San Antonio with energy.
Game 3 was all Lakers with energy, and then game 4, the second half, the Lakers were dominant. Bryant, biggest lead of the game for Los Angeles, 11.
Greg Popovich, and I can see him coming in now, Bruce Bowen has to play in this game. He's the one guy, you can't stop Kobe, but they at least have to bother Kobe. And right now, Kobe thinks there's nobody guarding him.
They're going to get Ori into the game for the next whistle as well. Loose ball, Bryant's there, Duncan's there. Kobe ties him up. Who wins this jump ball?
You know,
this is a pretty interesting one.
I tell you, the one thing about jump balls, if the guy can get up to it quicker, Kobe is clearly a quicker jumper, but Duncan, you know, he's bigger, he should get it. Kobe thinks he'll win it, I'll guarantee you that.
Kobe giving up about 6 inches here.
You know, I like the new rule also. You can see the shot clock didn't reset. If the Spurs win the tip, there's only 5 seconds for them to shoot the basketball. If the Lakers get it, obviously they get a new 24. I like this change.
Bowen and Horry are in the game. Duncan easily. But now it's taken away by Payton. So had the Spurs gotten the ball, they would have had maybe 3 seconds on the clock, and they were 40 feet out. And Bryant goes down with a leg going out from Bowen.
Kobe Bryant right now is attacking the rim. You know what Bruce Bowen is thinking about? He said, I was doing a pretty good job before I went out. Now he's on fire, and you put me in here to try to put this fire out, and it's very difficult to do that.
Kobe Bryant is playing out of his head. I mean, that performance the other night in Los Angeles was really one for the playoff ages. Medvedenko. It's such a complicated thing, too. There's nothing heroic about what Bryant's doing. We all understand what he's doing. We all understand going to court in Colorado and all the rest. There's no heroism there. It's just an amazing thing in a physical sense to think a guy can put his body through that and his brain through that and then come out and play a game like that.
Yeah, especially his brain. You know, I think the mental focus it takes to just fly and see your cousin is very difficult and come back on that same day.
We're just talking about in a sports sense. We don't want anybody to get any impression this has anything to do with any other factor involved in that. He put himself in that position to begin with. We all know that. We don't know how it will turn out, but just to be able to do that under those circumstances is amazing. Duncan going to the basket.
It really is. And I got to tell you, Al, you're watching this game, and thus far it's been all Lakers. I think the Lakers have played with more energy to start this game. But you sense right now a turn in it. You can see the Spurs starting to get back in this game. They're getting their movement back, and they're being more patient. And I think that's what Pop needs this team to do.
Duncan is 3 out of 4 from the line. Tim has 9 points. Every series in this round tied 2-2. So New Jersey and Detroit, game 5 tomorrow on TNT, followed by Sacramento at Minnesota. That's tied 2 apiece. They go to Minneapolis, and then we'll have that game on ABC, game 6 from Sacramento against the Timberwolves on Sunday. It's the first time in NBA history that the conference semifinals have all gone to 2-2, and it goes back to the 60s when these rounds started. And the basket counts. He'll go to the free throw line. Will Bowen to try to make it a 6-point game.
And I tell you, the little plays will get you back in. First, Tim Duncan missed 2 free throws. They get the offensive rebound. They get it back. They get it to Bowen. He has a chance to make a 3-point play. But more importantly, Bowen has a chance to do something offensively. Anything is good. It gives him confidence, and it allows him to stay on the floor, which means he gets to guard Kobe Bryant.
Duncan gets the rebound. Ginobili for a 3 that would have brought the house down.
You know, the free throws are so bad that it's very difficult to rebound.
2 worst free throw shooting teams in the league during the regular season. Shaq with a little blind bounce pass, and then Payton sends it over to Malone, and Horry may have gotten a piece of it.
And even if he didn't, he definitely changed it. So great effort by Robert Horry. Horry's giving this team some energy right now.
Parker. Duncan. And they're going to call it on Shaq, who thought he got all ball.
I thought he got the arm. I really did. Duncan came up. He started out with all ball, hit his arm, and now I said it. You can sense a change of energy. The Spurs now are the team getting the offensive rebounds and the loose balls, and I think you have to make that call. Watch the arm. Right there, that's a foul. See, that's one with Shaq having 2 fouls already, Al. He should just sit back and give up the dunk.
You're talking about offensive rebounds, Doc. San Antonio has 7. The Lakers have none.
And San Antonio has led throughout this series in offensive rebounds. Now, one reason is because they're not shooting the ball well, so they have more offensive rebound attempts. But 3 or 2 already have been off of free throws. I think 3 already in this game have been off of free throws, which can happen.
One of the reasons the Lakers have none is they're hitting 55%, but they've still missed 13 field goal attempts and haven't come down with 1 board off those.
See, so now the Lakers are up 5 points. The problem is they haven't gone away. The Lakers, the Spurs are still there, and Shaq has 3 fouls, and that is significant.
And that's why the crowd is at full decibel level right now. Payton. Gary can't buy one in the playoffs from the outside. Parker now. Inside to Duncan over Malone.
Too quick. That's the second time Tim Duncan has caught the ball and went quick. He is such a patient player, and I think the traffic that he's had to deal with is making him rush a little bit.
You know, sometimes you almost get caught up in the rhythm of the crowd, and you get it up too quickly. Fisher drives. That was contested. Looked around, thought he was fouled, doesn't get the call. Duncan to Parker underneath. Bowen out of the corner. 2-point game. When Shaquille O'Neal has been off the court in this series, the disparity is enormous. Not just tonight, but throughout the series. Bryant wrestles for the ball. Lakers will get it. They say it was last touched by Horry.
Now let me tell you what's going on, Al. That offensive rebound on the free throw. Bowen gets a 3-point play, gets his confidence. Robert Horry has come in. He's not shot the ball well. He has come in and made things happen with his energy. Greg Popovich said this morning he needed somebody, either Kevin Willis, Malik Rose, or Robert Horry to give us something, and he's giving it to him. And that's why Bruce Bowen makes that next 3 because of his confidence. So good turnaround for the Spurs.
Turned an 11-point deficit into 2. Luke Walton in the game to Payton. Walton for 3. Luke Walton.
You know what's funny with Luke Walton? He couldn't make that shot before the season started. And you watch him every practice shooting 3 after 3 after 3 because that's the shot he knows he's going to get. And now he makes a big one. Derek Fisher, the king flopper, may have just gotten another one.
He did.
I think it was a great call, number 1. He was there, but he was falling before Duncan hit him. I mean, Derek always get there. You know, he takes the hit, and it was an excellent call. He, again, and Stockton are the best 2 that I've seen.
Now Duncan has 2. Shaq on the bench with 3 for the Lakers. Fisher. Ooh, boy, he was almost behind the backboard from that angle.
I tell you, 2 huge shots. Luke Walton and Derek Fisher. One of the things we said is someone else is going to have to make shots. And right now, those others on the Lakers are.
So a 2-point lead is now 7 quickly as Horry puts it on the floor. Horry gets it again. Clock down to 5. Parker can't find anything underneath. Payton with the block, and then Walton gets it back to Kobe. All the way into the corner. Fisher was out of rhythm. Now Bryant backs off Bowen. Ooh, in and out. And out of bounds.
I guarantee you Kobe Bryant thought that was going in.
He was heading back down the court. Walton off the bench for a 3. San Antonio got it to within 2, but right now it's a 7-point game. Los Angeles 40, San Antonio 33. The Lakers having to step up to help the big 2, and there are the numbers in this series, and Derek Fisher has been the best off the bench, still averaging only 6 points per game.
Yeah, and you know Kobe is capable of scoring 40 a night, but not in the playoffs and not against the Spurs. So you needed other guys to step up, and they're doing that. Each guy, you know, Kareem Rush, you look at his numbers, he hasn't scored, but he's played great defense. He's caused 2 turnovers for the Lakers that led to baskets. So that is a significant output from him and from their bench.
Clock ticking down to the 2-minute mark as Gary Payton gets doubled. Sends it over to Malone. Shoots over Ori. Ginobili comes away with it. Duncan.
Yeah, he traveled.
And he traveled, yep.
Karl Malone, once again, has pulled the chair and made Duncan lose his balance. He's done it at least once a game.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. You can count on it. He'll lull you. Supporting cast tonight. A look right there, 13 points. The big 2 for the Lakers. O'Neal has 4. Bryant has 12. And for Kobe, add 2 more.
You have
resoundingly.
You have to worry so much about Kobe coming in for the handoff that Bruce Bowen was caught overplaying him.
Softly left-handed with the roll for Parker.
And tough. But right now, the Lakers will gladly trade baskets with Shaq off the floor. If they don't, the Spurs, don't gain an advantage. I think the Spurs would be very disappointed.
Lakers just got an offensive rebound on the miss by Kobe. Payton got the rebound. Now Payton can't handle the pass from Walton. 1:06 to play. Michelle.
Al, in that last huddle, Greg Popovich told Tony Parker, hey, your shots may not be falling at the percentage that you'd like, but don't stop taking them. Stay aggressive. Attack the basket. Don't take yourself out of this game, Al.
Oh, I agree, Al. We talked about it. And you can see him. He's looking for the help that he got in game 3 and 4. Right now, the Lakers aren't even sending anybody. They see him looking, so they don't have to send anyone. Fisher again.
Yeah. Created the foul. Ginobili says, get out of here.
Derek Fisher drawing offensive fouls. He just gives his body up, but he just knows how to slide in the right place. And he takes the hit.
And Ginobili comes out because he has 3 fouls now. Brown comes in.
I like the pressure from the Spurs.
Making the Lakers work to bring the ball up court is Gary Payton now with Brown on him. Sends it to Malone. Call from the lane.
See, Carl was questioning his jump shot, Al. He had a jump shot, passed it up, and decided to drive. He has to take that shot.
Parker. Walton knocked it away. Great play by Walton, who got it to Fisher, and now Luke gets it back. And travels in the situation where they could have held on to the ball and played for the last shot.
Rookie mistake right there. And Luke Walton is a smart rookie. He got caught in the moment. He didn't know the clock, and you always have to know clock when you play this game. He didn't know it. They could have gone in, the Lakers, with at least a 7-point lead with Shaq in foul trouble. This could be a huge mistake for them.
Now the Spurs have a chance to make it a 5 or even a 4-point game. Taken away again by Fisher. The steal by Fisher, who goes in all the way. And it doesn't go, and he doesn't get fouled either.
Well, it's his fault because he was waiting for a foul instead of going in and laying the ball up. Players try to get the 3-point play. Derek Fisher was ahead. Look at him slow down. Why slow down? Takes it for sure, too. It's no way the Spurs are going to get back and score another bucket with 1 second left on the clock. Another mistake to end the quarter.
He wanted 3, didn't get 2, didn't get anything, in fact. Here's Michelle.
All right, with Kobe Bryant's 7-point lead, they've shown a tendency to have runs. They got close. How did you hold them off?
Well, we did a good job defensively. Offensively, we're a little out of sync there. Really didn't finish the half the way we should have. See if we can't start the third quarter a little better.
Yeah, it hurts certainly that Shaquille's been out a lot of this half. Is that what took you out of sync?
Well, no, we didn't really execute. We rushed some shots, rushed some possessions, and enabled them to get back in it. When Shaquille gets back in the third quarter, we're going to try to establish them early and try to get them going.
They've turned it over quite a few times, too, and you guys have been able to capitalize. Do you think those turnovers have been their fault, or are you guys forcing them?
Well, it's always a combination of both. We're doing a good job with our rotations, being active, having active hands, and at the same time, they're not taking care of the ball too well.
All right, Kobe, thanks for stopping.
Thank you.
Coming out of the Spurs locker room, he said, boy, we feel like we're down 25. We're lucky we're only down 7. He said on dribble penetration, if things aren't there, they've got to look to make passes. They've had good looks at 3, he said, but at a certain point, if the 3s aren't falling, they have to think about doing other things. And finally, on turnovers, he said, those are the result of bad decisions. We've got to make better decisions here in the second half, guys.
All right, Michelle, 9 of those 10 turnovers came in the second quarter, and Tim Duncan gets them on the board first here in the third quarter.
And again, they're starting Tim Duncan up at the elbow, off the post. It makes it more difficult to give help. I agree with P.J. Carlesimo. The Spurs had good looks in the first half. They just didn't go in.
Payton missing a layup. Turkoglu gave up the 3 for the 2.
Well, Turkoglu should have taken that shot. His thinking was it's too early in the clock. Listen, you're not going to get a better shot than you had.
Talked himself out of it. Bryant.
If you're the Lakers, you don't like how they've come out. No ball movement for the most part. A lot of ISOs.
Bryant now 7 out of 15, and Devin George blocks the shot, but Parker gets it back.
Never leave the ball handler. Devin George did a great job. He blocked the shot, and then he left the ball handler thinking that somebody else would pick him up. Never leave the guy with the ball.
Shaquille O'Neal with 3 fouls. Ill-advised bounce pass underneath, and then Malone grabs Parker's shirt.
Which is a great foul because that's a sure 2 points. Spurs come out, they turn the ball over, they're forcing, or the Lakers turn the ball over, they're forcing their offense. Right now, if you're San Antonio, you have to love the way this game is going.
You look at the guys on the floor, same 10 that started the game. Lakers by 3. 2 minutes into the third quarter. And O'Neal with a rebound. Lakers fly home after the game. San Antonio heads to L.A. tomorrow for the 6th game, which will be played on Saturday night. Bryant.
Wow. Woo. See, that's just a tough shot. I mean, if you're Greg Popovich, that doesn't upset you at all. That's great defense. One thing to note, Shaquille O'Neal now has yet to touch the ball in this quarter.
Open is Nesterovic and missing it, but Duncan is right there, got position, and then has it taken away. And Bryant to O'Neal out in front for the jam.
I don't know if I've seen Shaq lead a break ever.
It's only his 3rd shot of the game. I'm trying to figure out what compelled to get him down there that fast.
See, now Tim Duncan is getting the attention again. Again, when he catches it on the post, gets a lot of attention. I was worried about Shaq on this play out. I didn't know if he could make it. Shaq tells me that he has great ball handling skills.
Devin George reached in and got flexed.
Yeah, and the problem there was Tim Duncan had already lost the ball. So in my mind, it was already a free ball.
O'Neal comes out on Duncan, and Shaq whacked it away.
Dangerously, because that reach could have been his 4th foul.
George, 3-pointer. And the Laker lead is double digits again.
The other guys are stepping up for the Los Angeles Lakers, and Kobe Bryant is trusting them.
Bryant has 16 points. George now has 8. Shaquille with those 3 fouls getting all ball. George pays off at the end with a tray. And Los Angeles.
You know, these late nights are killing me. I can't stay awake to watch the end of the Timberwolves and Sacramento Kings. What do you say to them?
I say that we're asking those games to start at 7:30 local time. It wouldn't be fair to the fans in those cities to disrupt them by playing games at 5:30. So get used to it.
You're making the rounds. Where do you go next, David?
You know, that's a good question. I forget where I've come from, so I don't remember where I'm going. But I must say, congratulations on using the NBA as a leapfrog to your next football career. I couldn't happen to a nicer person.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that. It has been a launching pad of sorts. Al, back to you.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you know, for Michelle, this is kind of like the World League of American football or the European League. David talking about starting the games at 7:30 local time. What do you do about? You know what you do? You move to Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean.
That way all the games are over by, you know, like 9 o'clock.
Michelle brings up a good point. I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning watching basketball games, but that's a good thing because I want to watch the games and they're good games. I guess that's a good thing.
It's a good thing you're from the West Coast.
Yes.
Turkoglu reaches in.
Good foul, though. It's a good foul because if Shaq catches the ball where he had him posted, it's a dunk. So very good foul, and you can see it's a grab on the arm. Yeah, you got to call that. But pretty good. That's the bruiser and the crusher in WWF move right there.
Bryant over Bowen.
Well, they're still going underneath on the pick and rolls with Kobe Bryant, and he loves it.
Spurs have to protect the basketball a lot better. They had 1 turnover in the first 15 minutes, and they steal it again. Devin George comes up with it. That's make it 13 turnovers in the last 14 minutes for San Antonio.
And the Lakers have just come out so aggressive.
George, three-pointer. Ooh, boy, is that big. The steal by George. San Antonio turning the ball over at the rate of once a minute since early in the second quarter.
Tony Parker has to look for his shot. So you can see he didn't think he was going to make that shot. He has to look for that shot.
He's 3 out of 14. And Shaq gets fouled. And for Shaquille O'Neal, he has not been to the free throw line tonight.
Well, that's because Kobe Bryant and the others have been shooting the ball so well. But all this is doing is setting it up for Shaq to have a nice run. Because everyone's making outside shots. It's going to make guys rotate slower to Shaq, which is going to open it up for him later.
Shaq, whose free throw shooting has been abysmal in postseason, actually had a decent game the other night. He was 8 out of 11 in the 4th game in L.A. 0 for 1 tonight. Tune into NBA TV immediately following every playoff game for post-game press conferences, live and unedited.
Wow.
On NBA TV. Not like us, Doc. We're always edited.
We are edited.
Shaq misses 2. Lead is still 13. Approaching the halfway mark of the 3rd quarter. Ginobili gets it back. Now Brown will take it.
Devin Brown will make shots. He's an offensive player. He's going to take shots. I like this timeout by Phil Jackson. He's going to stop any thought of a run. All they did was score 2 points. But Phil Jackson called a great timeout here.
Bulls timeout with a lead still in double digits for the Lakers.
Turnover war has lost the game so far in this series. San Antonio is a team that needs to force turnovers because they want to get in the open court.
But a glimpse of the Alamo from the blimp as Devin George goes in and jams it home. And Devin George, who has been pretty silent for a couple of weeks now during these playoffs, or at least this series, has 13 points.
And his confidence is soaring right now. That was a drawn-up play out of the timeout by Phil Jackson. And that was drawn up by Pop. He put Devin George there knowing that Kobe Bryant was going to help.
And then the other Devin Brown hits for 2 just inside the arc. LA by 11. Bryant, spin move, floater, got it.
Left hand, spin move over Tim Duncan. You shouldn't be able to do that, Al.
He's almost ambidextrous. When he first came to the Lakers out of high school, he used the left hand a lot. Then he went away from it for a while. And then this year, I think more than since his maybe rookie year or second season, Doc, he's been using that left hand.
You know what made him go to the left hand? You remember early in the year when he hurt his shoulder?
Yeah.
He started playing with the left hand in practice because his right hand and his right shoulder was hurting. Now, that's a good hand, too, when you can get up and dunk like that. Wow.
They say it's tough to overplay the guy to one side.
No, it's tough to guard him. He can handle the ball. He can shoot the 3. He can post you up. He can do about everything.
Horry comes into the game. Here's Duncan. He's 3 over O'Neal and misses. And Kobe gets the rebound. Some fending off Bowen. Looking for Shaq. Duncan on Shaq here. With Nesterovic out of the game. George again. Ooh, what a time to get hot for Devin George. Biggest lead of the game. Lakers are up by 16.
Well, we said before the game that someone else on the Lakers were going to have to make shots. We didn't know it was just going to be one guy.
Bowen missing. Malone with the rebound.
I don't like the Spurs' energy right now. You know, this is still, you're at home. It's a 16-point game, but there's a ton of time.
O'Neal. Lost it.
See, he's worried about fouls.
Brown to Ginobili.
Every turnover, Al, every turnover leads to a bucket for the Spurs. They have to somehow create more of them. I tell you, right now, the Lakers are getting every shot they want. They're getting layups, they're getting wide open 3s, they're getting Shaq at the basket, and they're getting Kobe from anywhere.
Foul was on Brown. Gary Payton goes to the line. Saturday, Indianapolis 500 time trials. 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on ABC Sports. It's May in Indianapolis. And after ABC's coverage, the time trials will continue over on ESPN. Gary Payton makes it 61-45. Lakers by 16. Brown, reverse, no roll.
Again, gambling off the other guys. You know, the Lakers will take some of those shots. They figure at the end of the day, they're not going to keep making them.
Cross court to George, steps back, and the foul away from the ball.
See, that's a great case of Devin George should have just caught the shot. But it was a heat check. He had to find out if he was as hot as he thought he was, so he stepped behind the 3. Most of us coaches would love the player to just catch, shoot, and not worry about where that line is at.
Mini cold front came in. Meanwhile, Malone is whistled for his 4th foul. So Carl has 4. O'Neal has 3.
And Devin Brown, Al, is the only Spur besides Ginobili, because he's always aggressive, being aggressive.
That's how he earned his job. That's how he keeps his job. Foul on Payton. That's Gary's first. Bryant has none.
this game is not out of reach for the San Antonio Spurs. When you look at Karl Malone with 4 fouls and Shaq with 3, there's foul trouble right around the corner for the Lakers. So San Antonio somehow has to try to take advantage of that.
They'll get Malone out of the game with his 4. Medvedenko comes in. O'Neal gets the rebound. Shaq had 3 fouls in the first half with about 5 minutes to play in the half. They took him out for the rest of the half. None here in the third. The third quarter has been the dominant quarter in this series for the Lakers. Payton will drive all the way in, lay it off for O'Neal. Got it back, gets it back again. Gets mugged underneath and goes to the free throw line.
Great foul on Horry. Great foul because he had the ball. He was going to dunk the ball, make him make both free throws. And look at Robert Horry come from nowhere. First of all, look at the effort of Shaq. Rebound, miss. Horry's not even in the picture, and he flies in to commit the foul. Again, Horry's playing good basketball without scoring right now for the Spurs.
Shaq 0 for 2 from the line. Six points for O'Neal. Game 5 here in San Antonio. As the third quarter winds down, the Lakers trying to go up 3 games to 2, trying to win their third straight. Lakers on top by 15. And O'Neal is 0 for 4 from the line. For the Lakers tonight, Bryant with 18 points to lead the team. But Devin George with 16 has been tremendous. Tim Duncan, the only guy for San Antonio in double figures with 13. Ginobili, soft 2, and it's 61-48. He thought about shooting from outside, moved it in, 61-48.
Ginobili and Devin Brown have done an excellent job of keeping the Spurs in this game. Now the Spurs need Tim Duncan and Tony Parker to respond.
Lakers work it all the way around the perimeter where Medvedenko misses. Rebound to Parker, under 2 minutes to play now in the third. Brown out of the corner. Bryant. Medvedenko has it fall into his lap. In fact, he didn't expect it, so he loses it. And now Brown over Fisher.
A turnover leads to a basket for the Spurs.
Be a big boost if the Spurs get it down into single digits as we go to the fourth quarter. A little over a minute to play. Lakers up by 11. Crowd on its feet. Shaquille O'Neal. Duncan impeded it. Horry to 3. Too early for Horry to make a 3, right? You can only make him at the buzzer.
Only with the game on the line.
Right. Fisher backing Parker in. 6-second differential. Game and shot clock. Fisher tries to punch it away. Parker wanted the foul. They don't get it. Parker in traffic. And down he goes, and they're going to call it on Parker.
Boy, you can look, you can feel how Parker's thinking out on the floor. I mean, he's trying to force the action here. Just too much traffic. They try to dribble between 2. See, he did this in game 1 and 2, but there was not as much help. And you can see all the Lakers have their hands down, ready for Parker.
Duncan tonight 4 of 11 from the field, and there's Parker, who was just magnifique, the Frenchman in the first 2 games. Not quite magnifique, though, since game 3. Fisher has 5 points. It's his first trip to the free throw line. And the Lakers are now 3 out of 9 from the free throw line.
I agree with P.J. Carlesimo right now. It's only an 11-point game, but it sure feels like the Lakers are up a lot more.
Yes, it does. 12-point lead. Parker outside. Brown. Big three. Big three. 1.8 to play. And they are able to get it in single digits as Kobe launches one at the end. But they get it down to 9 after the Lakers are up by 16. Brown with 11 points, 10 in this quarter. Kobe has not missed a minute. You think he was taking kind of an on-court breather there the last few minutes, Doc?
I thought the last 5 minutes of the game, of that quarter, Kobe kind of took a break. He moved the ball, didn't really try to score, and I think he's trying to save it up for right now.
Medvedenko. Duncan gets the rebound. Tim's been tough on the glass tonight. 18 rebounds for Tim Duncan.
Got to take that shot.
Yeah, he's tentative. Now he does.
Yeah, that's a second thought shot. Got to take that first shot.
Lakers 0 for their last 9, and that's why a 16-point lead is down to single digits. 62-53. Ginobili is on Bryant. Clock at 5. Whips it to Malone. Too hard. The two bench guys, Ginobili and Brown, single-handedly getting them back into the game. Double-handed, I suppose. Duncan was tripled. Then Parker goes through the forest.
Parker again has to take the shot. Sure. He's wide open. He has to take that shot.
One on the shot clock, especially in a situation where Duncan has it. He gets triple teamed, so you're going to have 2 guys who are open.
And they're going to keep coming until somebody else makes the shot. See, by passing up shots, Al, it not only hurts the Spurs, it hurts Tim Duncan because he can't get a shot off.
Ginobili had to get the shot away. Remember, they had 1 on the clock, and Kobe now. Looks like he's going to start this period a little re-energized. Malone with 4 fouls. Bryant guarded by Parker here. Shoots over him. Short. Well short.
Parker did a nice job of cutting Kobe's legs out.
19 rebounds for Tim Duncan. 10.5 to go in the game. Medvedenko slaps it out. Whip around behind the back. Parker scores. Well, that'll get the crowd going.
And it can get Parker going. A guy like Parker, a young kid like Parker, all he needs is one shot to make him feel, now I have it.
Nothing like a big basket after a behind-the-back whip around followed by a turnover. (62-55). A 16-point lead, now 7. Under 10 to play, 4th quarter.
Kobe Bryant has yet to take a break in this game.
Malone's played all but 5 minutes. Payton's played all but 6 minutes. Shaq was on the bench in the first half because of the 3 fouls.
Derek Fisher, another offensive foul. The fans don't know it.
The fans don't know it. The fans think that Parker just hit a 3.
Watch Fisher again.
It's so loud they couldn't hear it. And now the word has filtered through by Pony Express.
You know, Parker's thinking, I finally make a 3. And they take it away. Good move by Phil Jackson. He rested Shaq to start the quarter. Now he brings Shaq back in, but then he takes Kobe Bryant off. So all the time, he has one of those 2 guys on the floor.
Kobe will get a short breather. Foul on Ginobili was his 4th. Lakers with Fisher and Rush in the backcourt. inside to O'Neal. Got the bounce. Goes to the free throw line.
Boy, big shots. You know, every time you feel like the Spurs are going to get back in it, you got to make that call. I mean, you're hitting a shooter on the arm. You know what's so tough, Al? Most guys, you wouldn't even be able to get the ball up. But Shaq is so strong. Wow, three-point play.
Foul was on Brown, and for Shaquille O'Neal, that's his first free throw in 5 attempts. Lakers are 5 of 11 from the free throw line tonight. Horry almost has it taken away by George, who's had real quick hands tonight. Devin playing by far his best game of playoffs, and in a couple of months.
That one shot,
regular season, Parker.
That one shot that Tony Parker hit. Now the Lakers are going to have to deal with Tony Parker. Next guy they have to get into it is Tim Duncan.
Malone.
Malone is falling away and losing confidence with each shot.
Malone is 3 out of 10 from the field. Lakers are down to 44%. Fisher couldn't steal. Tries to steal again and commits the foul. Foul on Fisher. Here's that shot from Parker. Off the Duncan screen.
In that last time out, Al, Greg Popovich did all of his X's and O's, then looked at his team and said, we've worked all year for this. Know the defense. Shaq's back in. Make your adjustment. By the way, you're all doing a really good job, Al.
Pat him on the head on the way out of the huddle, huh? Turkoglu. And Malone with a rebound now.
You know, it's funny. You're looking at this game now, and though the Lakers are ahead, you almost feel like it's the Spurs' advantage right now. They're playing with more energy.
No question. Knocking a 16-point lead down to 8, so they've halved it, and the Lakers keep throwing the ball away, and now will San Antonio score off another Laker turnover. Turkoglu for 3.
Every turnover leads to a bucket for the Spurs.
George.
See, that's not that easy anymore. When you have a 16-point lead, shots are easy. He's going to get those same shots.
Parker, he'll try a 3 here. And San Antonio built its lead in the first half the other night with 3s, and they built their comeback with a couple of 3s here. 2-point game.
Kobe Bryant has not been involved in the offense the last 7 minutes of this game. He has to get back involved, and so does Shaq.
Offensive.
It's amazing how quickly a game can change. And I'll tell you when it changed, when Tony Parker made that shot off an offensive rebound. The whole game changed because Tony Parker changed.
And now Fisher comes out of the game, and Gary Payton comes back in. So the Lakers have their original starting lineup in right now. The 4 studs and Devin George. Parker for 3 is short. Malone, can he hold the ball inbounds? He can't. Giving Turkoglu another chance, and he can't. And O'Neal goes up for the rebound and comes down hard and gets fouled. Foul on Duncan.
Yeah, the Spurs look like they're in a rush now. You know, they don't have to take the lead with a shot. They're back in this game. Those last 2 shots were so quick, it almost made it look like they thought they had to catch up.
Yeah.
They need to look at the scoreboard now and say, wow, we're only down 2. It's a game.
They took those 2 threes, would have led by 1. Place already erupting. Shaq has come all the way out in this set. Now he works his way inside. Play clock in single figures. Bryant got it. Kobe Bryant, and you're right, Doc. I think if the Lakers are to do it, number 8 will play the key role.
Well, he knows that. You know, the fourth quarters are his. They know when it gets real late, it's tough to go to Shaq because you can foul him.
And a foul before Devin Brown gets the shot away. Foul's on Payton.
The one thing, again, I like, and Pop kept saying this with his team, guys, don't settle, keep attacking the basket, and good things will happen.
Duncan with only 2 points, and who would have figured a comeback of this magnitude, and the big man with just a deuce.
Tough shot.
And an air ball, but they're underneath for the rebound and score it. Brown. But he stepped out of bounds. He stepped out of bounds.
Devin Brown is the single most important player on this floor for the Spurs. He got him back in this game, and his effort is keeping him in this game.
4-point lead halfway through the fourth quarter in the pivotal fifth game. Winner of this series needs just one more to advance to the Western Finals. Loser would have to win the last two. Bryant putting it up. And Malone volleyballs it all the way back down the floor. And then Payton, as he tries to save it, did he call the timeout? No.
He tried. They're not going to give it to him. He was falling out of bounds. And you're not allowed to call a timeout in the NBA when you're falling out of bounds.
Which he was. So the ball was swatted too far, 94 feet in effect, or just about, and Gary Payton can't save it. 4-point.
He has to get involved in this game.
Tim Duncan tonight, 6 out of 20. 5.5 to go. Duncan feeding Parker. Perkele will drive. And O'Neal fumbles the rebound, but George is right there to come up with it.
Gary Payton did an excellent job on that pick and roll, staying in front of Tony Parker. That allowed the other Lakers to get back to their men.
Bryant feeding Malone underneath, and he gets hammered by Ori.
And very close to a flagrant foul. Wouldn't be surprised if they didn't call it. I mean, when you look at this here, this is pretty hard foul. You know, the rule is not a play on a ball. The rule is excessive force.
On the street, that's 30 days in the focus.
Yes. You can even call a foul on that one at the park.
May the 1st. Friday, that's tomorrow night, TNT, New Jersey at Detroit, game 5 in that series, squared at 2 weeks. Sacramento, Minnesota from Minneapolis follows that series, as are all the series.
You know, Al, you look at this score, it's 68-63. It's a low-scoring game, but an excellent game. And it tells you how much pressure is in this game 5, where guys are missing shots that they usually miss. But this is a Spurs type of game. So if you're Greg Popovich, you're down, you struggled all game, but your defense is what's been your staple all year.
Lower the score, better their chances. They led the league along with Detroit in scoring defense, and a foul underneath. Duncan got surrounded. It might be on Shaq. It is 4.
The bad news now is Duncan has to go to the free throw line where he struggled, but been pretty good tonight. I like that Tim Duncan here is aggressive. That's what he has to do.
He's 5 out of 8 from the line. The Spurs are 7 of 15 collectively from the line. The Lakers are 6 of 13. Neither team hitting 50%. This could be the first playoff game in the history of the NBA in which both teams shoot under 50%. And it would figure, since they were last and next to last in the regular season.
See, Duncan is making free throws tonight like Shaq made them the other night. But I want to make this point again. This is a Spur type of game, low scoring, defensive minded. They're used to playing this way.
Shaq was 8 of 11 from the line the other night. And Duncan gets a bounce there and is 7 of 10. 3 points again. Shaquille. No bounce.
And that's the shot he wanted. He felt good about that shot when it left his hands.
Duncan off the glass. And the crowd raising a collective glass right now. Their team within one.
The best way to get a shooter going is by getting to the free throw line. Tim Duncan makes those free throws.
Bryant in and out. Duncan drawing Shaq outside. Parker gets around Shaq. Bryant got a hand on it. Play clock or the shot clock was down to 0. No basket. No basket. 24-second violation.
Boy, that's the third basket that has been taken away from the Spurs with good calls. But you feel bad if you're a Spurs fan.
Lakers take a timeout. Tim Duncan's last shot. Chris Webber was tremendous last night. They'll play Game 5 tomorrow and Game 6 on our network on Sunday. The Lakers are 2 for their last 18, and that's why a 16-point game has become a 1-point game.
And again, we said it with the 16-point lead, that the Spurs were not out of this game. Now this game has really turned into Spur type of tempo.
Tough San Antonio defenses. Bryant is matched up now on Brown. Clock is at 5. Kobe's going to put it up.
See, not a good possession, again, from the Lakers. The Spurs right now are taking the Lakers out of their offense, and there's no movement anymore.
That was all Kobe over the last 12 seconds, and the shot wasn't that good in terms of selection. Duncan off the glass. Unintentional off the glass.
But good things happen when you're patient, and Tim Duncan has been pretty patient.
7-6 was the last time San Antonio had the lead. Early first quarter.
See, now Karl Malone is passing shots up. And they're forcing Kobe Bryant to force the action.
And Payton will try to stop it. He can't. Tony Parker. Jackson has to take a timeout. The Spurs on a tremendous run. 8-0 is the last of these runs, but they have turned a 16-point deficit into a 3-point lead.
And really, it's all on the defensive end. In the second half, the Spurs are basically scored off of turnovers.
Al, what a decidedly different Spurs bench in the last time out, where Tony Parker and Tim Duncan were pensive earlier. They're patting each other on the head. Where the reserves had been somber, they are elated. Where assistant coaches were shaking their heads, they're now smiling. And where Popovich had been irate, he's now simply intense, guys.
And Shaq has just made it a 1-point game inside. 71-70 San Antonio.
Boy, Michelle makes a great point. I mean, you look over at that huddle and that bench in the third quarter, they were ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
And the Lakers, but credit to Spurs defense, got them back in this game, and then Devin Brown is the hero.
Shaquille goes up for the rebound, and it's out of bounds off Shaquille. Horry came over the top, but it's off Shaquille.
Robert Horry, you know, it's funny. Sometimes players can make significant contributions without scoring, and Robert Horry has done that in this game.
Yeah, despite the fact his numbers aren't that good, when you look at when he's been on the floor as opposed to when he hasn't, the Spurs have played a lot better.
He's made great hustle plays.
Parker, it's a 2-pointer. And Ginobili's there and whips it outside and gets it back to Parker.
Hustle, hustle, hustle right now.
Now Horry all alone for 3, not even close. And Shaquille comes down with it. 1:15 to play. It's a 1-point San Antonio lead. O'Neal. Bryant gets free for a moment. Now pressured. Play clock. 4 seconds. Long three. No.
I just don't like the way Kobe's involved in the offense right now, Al.
Parker looking back at Popovich. Seven on the clock. Two-pointer for Parker. Ooh, it rims out. Malone gets the rebound. Derek Fisher looked over at the bench. About a 6-second differential.
Phil Jackson will not call a timeout. He hates to allow the defense to set up. This is going to be pick and roll with Kobe and Karl Malone.
Malone coming out. He sets it. Kobe gets around it. Kobe puts it up. Made it. Lakers by 1 with 11 and a half to go.
Kobe Bryant is tired.
Oh, he's exhausted.
Unbelievable shot. But he walked off the floor like he wanted to pass out. And Al, the only thing I can think of right now is Robert Horry is on the other team.
He's on the other team.
He's on the Spurs right now, and you know he would love to get a shot. You watch this pick and roll. You can't give him the inch. He had a great look at that one. But look at him walk off the floor. And this is Phil Jackson's reaction. I've seen a guy in Chicago do that. Two best players involved on this last play. So if I'm Phil Jackson, I'm thinking pick and roll, Tony Parker and Tim Duncan.
The other thing, the Lakers have a foul to give here. None in the last 2 minutes, none over the limit, so the Lakers can commit a foul without the Spurs going to the free throw line.
And that's big. That's big at this point in the game. It'll be interesting how much time the Lakers let go off the clock before they use it.
Brown to inbound. They get it to Duncan. He's outside. Clock under 6. And that's where the Lakers commit the foul. It's Derek Fisher.
Yeah, good job. I mean, they burned 6 seconds off the clock. So now it's a 5-second play that the Spurs are going to have to draw up. One thing I will say, and certain coaches have certain things that they do extremely well. Greg Popovich is one of the better side-out-of-bounds coaches in this league. And they're going to draw up a heck of a play here. Someone's going to lead someone, and they're going to get an open look.
But he's got Brown, Ginobili, and Turkoglu. The other guys on the floor right now. Ginobili will inbound. To Duncan. He gets doubled. Shaq all over him. He gets away, a fadeaway. He makes it with 4:10 left. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow. Wow.
He's pressured. He makes it from way outside.
You couldn't have defended that any better.
No.
You know, it's almost like Tim Duncan is giving the Lakers what Kobe has given the Spurs. You couldn't have defended that any better. The Lakers had taken the Spurs out of the play, and Tim Duncan turned the great. I mean, look at this. They take away the handoff. Duncan has nowhere to go. A fadeaway jump shot off the wrong leg out. Wow.
21 for Duncan, 8 in the period, just inside the arc, under pressure, under physical pressure, and under intense pressure in terms of these playoffs. It almost reminds you of Kobe Bryant's shot in Portland. It's a little different, of course. The one that gave them the Pacific Division Championship in double overtime.
Yeah, this
great defense.
This one's big, boy. I tell you. I mean, Greg Popovich had to be thinking right now, my goodness, we've lost to the Lakers, and now we have to go up to L.A. down 3-2. Now they're up 3-2. Wow.
.4 remaining in the 5th game. Here they go. They get it to Fisher. He scores! Derek Fisher scores at the buzzer. It'll have to be reviewed. They'll review it. They'll review it. The Lakers are going to run to the dressing room, and they'll try to get on the plane before the officials can get over to the scorer's table.
Boy,
oh,
it was
my
close.
God.
We got to take a look at it, but I got to tell you, live, it looked good.
I thought it did, too.
My goodness.
Well, I had a feeling I was just going to ask you, everybody in the world knows they're going after Bryant. They're going to try to foul Bryant. So do you go to somebody else? Do you take a chance?
Well, they went for
Derek
Bryant.
Fisher, here we go. Take a look at this.
For Bryant. You can see him looking.
Clock.
Derek Fisher breaks open.
Starts.
It's good.
Yeah, I think it is good. With about 1/10 of a second. Yeah, I don't know how you
tell you, it's close, though. It's so close.
It's very close.
Watch the light.
Ball has to be out of his hands.
Ball's out.
Yeah, it's out of his hands. It's out of his hands.
Wow, it's good.
Just an unbelievable game.
You think about the breaks. Think about the breaks, Al. The 4/10 of a second made the difference. The 4/10
that's right. You're
of
right.
a second.
You're right.
Wow.
You talked about it, 4/10 and 3/10. It was called good on the court, so they'd have to see something to overrule it, much as football. Ball's out. There it is, out of his hand. That's all you need. Can you imagine the days, what was it? It was about 12 years ago. The Lakers have won. The Lakers are going to run off the court. In the days before you went to tenths of seconds, remember you had that massive craziness in New York in a playoff game a few years ago.
Al, I've been around this league for 20 years. I've never seen an ending like this before.
That's off the charts.
2 unbelievable shots. I've never seen anything like it ever.
2 lead-changing shots in the last 4/10 of a second. At the risk of being a shill, now I know why they say we love this game.
We love this game.
It's just unbelievable. Here's Michelle.
All right, I'm with Shaquille O'Neal because everybody else ran into the locker room. Can you describe those last 0.4, of a second, whatever you're going to call that fraction?
One lucky shot deserves another. Tim Duncan hit a great shot. He was falling down. He just threw it up. I thought I was playing good D. I was right there. I didn't want to foul. I was right there in his face, and he hit the shot. And then Derek got the ball, threw up a lucky shot, and hit the shot. We won the game. Talk
about the design of that play, because I think everyone was looking to guard Kobe, and then Fisher comes up with it.
Actually, the play was for Kobe to settle loud for me, and then Kobe to come off, but everybody was looking for me and Kobe. Derek Fisher just ran to the ball, got it, and threw it up.
This was an enormous win. You guys led by 16. They came back and took the lead, and it looked like they were going to go back to L.A. up 3-2. Can you talk about what a difference a moment makes?
I think we had too many turnovers again in the 4th quarter. They got too many offensive rebounds. They came down and hit some shots. And like I said, the last 2 shots, one lucky shot deserves another.
Yeah, and Shaq, just real quick, you had some foul trouble early. How frustrated were you in your inability to contribute in the first half because of those fouls?
I mean, I was just coming out playing aggressive, and, they were just, calling the fouls on me tonight.
All right, Shaq wants to get back in that locker room to celebrate with his teammates, guys. We'll let him go. Back to you.
Unbelievable. Leave it to Shaq to sum it up. One lucky shot deserves another. Think about Derek Fisher. Here's a guy who's a starter, wins 3 rings. They bring in Peyton. He loses his job. He comes off the bench. Derek this year did not shoot very well. Started shooting a little bit better during the playoffs. Has begun to see more action of late, and he is the guy who will go into Laker lore with this shot.
But Al, I'm going to say this. This morning, you asked Greg Popovich if there's an X factor in the game for the Lakers, who is it going to be? And what did he say?
He said Derek Fisher
will be the X factor.
And right now, Derek Fisher is Greg Popovich's X-rated factor.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in San Antonio land is happy about that. But what a great ending. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, especially when you put the magnitude of the game.
And this series, and I mean, this is the marquee series. The series, there have been some great matchups, but you have the champions of the last 5 NBA seasons, and Derek Fisher is right now in with Michelle. Let's go to Michelle.
Yeah, with Derek Fisher, we got to get him while we can because this man is in high demand.
Wow.
Talk about the design on that last play.
Well, most times the play is not for me. Even though I can make shots, most of the time we're going to Kobe and Shaq automatically. But they covered those 2 guys. I came open. Garrett gave me a great pass and turned the shot.
Tell me how the moment felt, because as our guys just explained, you lost your starting job. Malone is here, giving you quite the pat on the back, but you had lost your starting job.
Yeah, I mean, this is special. I mean, we almost gave this game away. And I think tonight's game is so indicative of how our whole season has gone. We looked great at times, we've looked poor at times, but we've hung in. Everybody's had adversity individually, collectively, and this is just a great win for our team and our organization.
You know, it's hard to describe the way that this bench erupted, the way that every player erupted, especially after watching those replays. Can you talk about what that locker room is like right now?
Well, that's the only way we can win on the road. We need everybody to contribute. Shaq was big, even though he was in foul trouble. Kobe played solid. Everybody just gave what they could give. Devin George deserves a lot of credit tonight. We just kept fighting, Michelle.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, back to you guys.